So good morning and a blissful Sunday to all of you. The subject for today is a combined subject that was suggested by Narayani and suggested by myself. And it has two parts. The first part is, what are the signs of spiritual progress? How do we know that we're getting along on the spiritual path? I remember a satsang that we had with Swamiji in his home in California. And somebody asked this question in this way. He said, it was a few years in to Ananda, just a few. And this person got up and said, Swamiji, I've been here for a few years, and I know a lot more. Is this on?
It is on, but yeah.
Okay. He said, I know a lot more than I knew 3 years ago, but I don't think I'm progressing on the spiritual path. I know more, but I don't think I'm experiencing more. Swami's answer was interesting, as it always was interesting. He said, there's no way we can tell, we can evaluate how far we've gone on the spiritual path, because we are always in motion, we are always progressing. We are never static or fixed. So there's no way to measure where we are now compared to the goal, where we're going, because we're moving. And this is one of the most important things, that we stay in motion. That not to be a perpetual motion machine, we need to be balanced, of course, but we need to be moving towards the goal. Yesterday, I commented on something that Swami said, one of his one-line sutras. He said, we can exert our free will only in this way. Are we moving towards God or away from God? This is entirely our choice. Everything else is karma. This is what we can do in this lifetime, is to keep moving forward. Often we evaluate ourselves on our experiences in meditation. There's this, do I see the spiritual eye? Do I hear the Om? Can I hear the bells? And so forth. These expressions of deep meditation. And often we are disappointed with our meditation, because maybe it's not brilliant, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe today we don't see anything or hear anything. Perhaps our mind is assailed by restlessness, and we think, I'm not getting anywhere. It's the same struggle every single day. But what's important is that we're on the battlefield every single day. That we don't give up. Lahiri Mahashaya, our Param Guru, Param Guru, what did he say? Banat, banat, banjai. Okay. So, trying, staying on the field. One day, that victory will come to us. Master said, I don't expect you to overcome temptation. He says, it's very powerful. Maya is very powerful. He said, I only expect you to keep trying. Banat, banat, banjai. And if you keep trying, one day an unseen hand will reach down from heaven and break open the chains that bind you. Our part, his part. Our part is to keep trying. Swami used to mention often this phrase from Bhagavad Gita that describes the yogi. And Krishna says to Arjuna that the yogi is always even-minded and cheerful. This truly is a sign of spiritual progress. It's not just how deep our meditation is, but how our lives change. How we change. Think about your life. Think about it 5 years ago. Can you picture yourself 5 years ago? Try to do that just for a moment. only 5 years ago. And now see yourself today. Is there a difference? Is there a positive difference? What is it that's different? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel a bit more at peace with yourself, with life? It's difficult for us to see our own progress. You know, we never see our face. Do you realize that? When we look in a mirror, what do we see? We see the opposite. We see a reflection of ourselves, but others see us. And this is one way that we can determine if we're making progress in our spiritual life, is that others begin to see us in a different light. Very often, a woman will begin to meditate, and perhaps the husband is not very much in favor, or the other way around, and the children are confused by it. But I've heard so many stories of people saying that at a certain point, the children say, "Mommy, Mommy, you're getting a little irritated. Please go and meditate." And the husband saying to his wife, "Yes, please meditate. Our home life is much better. The food tastes better too." Let's go back to even-minded and cheerful. What does that mean? The more we're on the spiritual path, the more distance we have from what happens in our life. Normally, I was talking yesterday about the citta, about the feelings and the emotions of the heart. And the ego encourages us, pushes us to get emotionally involved in the tiniest thing in life. Swami used to comment about the Italian mentality and how emotional the Italians are. And, it's normal for somebody, if you're greeting them in the day, especially if you're staying with them, "Good morning, did you sleep well?" And, the normal answer is, "Yes, I did, thank you," or "Not so well, but it's fine." But Swami said in Italy, you ask a person, "Well, did you sleep?" "Oh, it was awful. I couldn't shut my eyes the whole evening." And they go on and tell you a whole story. It's like a Verdi opera. Okay. So the yogi, when we continue on the spiritual path, we become much more calm about things. As Swami would often say, if a person would come and tell him about the difficulties that they were having or some crisis that they were having, he would say, "These things happen. Life happens. And there's nothing we can do about it except to respond to it calmly." This even-minded, to have the distance, to see it as though it's a drama. You're going to do you like to go to the cinema? Yes. Now, why? Because you can see and observe somebody else's life, their tragedies, their problems, knowing that they're not yours. Knowing that when you leave the theater, you're not going to carry their problems with you. They've either been resolved, not been resolved, but it's theirs. It's not yours. And we begin to have this attitude towards our lives, where we see things happening and, oh, what a very interesting drama. Some years ago, a very strong situation happened to Ananda in Assisi, and that's that the police came and arrested us. They put us in jail. There were 9 of us. They were looking for Swami, but fortunately Swami was here in India. This happened just a few months after he moved to India. One funny thing is that Jyotish and Devi were staying in Swami's house, and when the police raided Ananda, they tried to arrest Jyotish because they thought he was Swami. And of course we know that he is. But anyway, so they arrested us, and they blocked all of our money and took our computers, and it was a very, very big thing, and it went on for quite a while. And the accusations against us were unbelievable, that we were brainwashing people, that we were enslaving people, that we were defrauding people, that we had a criminal organization, that we were conspiring, that we were, like the mafia. No, literally, there's an anti-mafia law in Italy, and we were accused of, And so all of the charges against us were criminal, and each one of them carried 20 years in jail. Okay, so can you imagine how we felt? No, you can't. Because when it happened, at least for myself, they came to my house, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, the snow was this high, it was freezing cold, and I opened the door, and there were these two policemen and one policewoman, and they, it's just like in the movies. Come with us, Where are you taking me? To prison. And, I said, well, what's the story? And I said, please read the charges against me. I went to law school, and I know, they need to tell you why they're carrying you away. And they read all of these accusations against us. And I listened very attentively, very calmly, and I said, I think you have the wrong house. Nobody here has done any of that. Just carry on, down the street. No, ma'am, we've come for you. And so I just thought, this is an amazing drama. Look what Yogananda is doing. He has a reason for this. There's some purpose, and it's going to be great fun. And because I said to myself, I've never been in jail, so this is going to be a new experience. And, great people have been in jail. Mahatma Gandhi's been in jail. Nelson Mandela's been in jail, so this is good. And so they said, please pack your suitcase and come with me. So I said to them, should I take a big suitcase or a smaller suitcase? They said, I don't know. And so, well, how long will I be there? Well, we don't know. So the policewoman, comes with me as I'm packing my suitcase. So I open my medium-sized suitcase, and I open my closet, and so I say to her, how many underwear should I take with me? And then I pulled out the clothes. Should I take this? Should I take this? We went in the bathroom, big shampoo, little shampoo, So I said, let's enjoy this. Remember, Master said the purpose of life is to entertain and to educate. So I said, this is entertainment, and somewhere in there is a lesson. Okay. And it carried on that way. We got to the prison. In the beginning, we were all separate. There's a police car and police people for everyone. And then they put the women together. So then I knew that it was me and Kirtani and Gitanjali. So we got to the women's prison. And by then, the policemen were carrying our luggage, and they were, very nice to us. And there's this woman, just like in the movies, behind this big gate. And so I said to her, listen, if it's full here, I saw a hotel down the street, so we can just stay there. And nothing. Nothing. So I said, and what is your name? I said to her. She said, you can call me Agent. It was just, so I thought, this is a great film. So let's enjoy it. The irony is that the jail was full. Okay? So they put us in the infirmary, which was actually a very good place. It was a big place. There were lots of beds. There was a kitchen. There were 3 bathrooms. There was an exercise cycle. No heat, but the other things. And then another agent came down, to take care of us, to process us. And she comes down the stairs, she looks at us, and she pronouns. And she says, Om Shanti, you're from Ananda, aren't you? Yogananda sent you. And then I said, you see, this is, I know there's some reason. Well, she is convinced to this day that we were arrested for her because she wanted to get to know Yogananda's teachings, and she became a disciple. Anyway, so we're in jail for 5 days, but then the story goes on for different years. Well, at the end, what happens? We're totally absolved. There's no evidence against us. But everybody in Italy, in Europe, knows about us. Front page, Yogananda's picture, Temple of Light picture, it's all free publicity. And the judge, when he makes his decision, declares that Ananda is an organization that is qualified to have all of the protections of the Italian Constitution, including the protection of freedom of religion. So they've never touched us, since then. So Yogananda, had something. And why get upset about it? Why? When we have faith and we know that we're in Guru's hands, we're in God's hands, they're not going to let anything bad happen to us without a purpose. So this being detached, and we learn this through the practice of the Hong Sa technique. Because in this technique, we watch the breath. It's like it's not ours. It's just something that happens. It's a phenomenon. And we attune ourselves with the rhythm of the breath, and we let the breath take us. And this is a sign of spiritual progress when we're able to do that in our lives. When we can look at our life and say, in what way is God entertaining me? In what way is Guru teaching me something? And welcoming all of that. I accept, I welcome with calm impartiality everything that happens, comes along my way, free in my heart. I am not conditioned by any outward circumstance. This is a true sign of spiritual progress when we're not conditioned. It's a sign of spiritual progress when we love meditation. This right here. The soul loves to meditate. When we look forward to our meditation, because we know that even if it's a restless meditation, it makes our lives better. It makes the lives of the people around us much better. Another sign of spiritual progress is that we become more tolerant of ourselves, of our defects, knowing that they don't really belong to us and that we will someday overcome it. More tolerant of others and their deficiencies. More tolerant of other people's personalities and of their way. Not insisting that the world be the way we want it to be. We become softer. Ramakrishna said that the devotee is like a newborn kitten that lets itself be carried around in the mouth of the mother cat. It just relaxes and lets the mother take it. And so we stop imposing our will on life and begin to accept. Another sign of spiritual progress is that there grows within us a desire and a love to serve. Because we feel God's love. We see in our lives how the gurus serve us. And we begin to want to. It becomes, I don't want to say a necessity, but in a way it is. Because the soul loves to meditate and the soul loves to share. Now, what are some important tools for spiritual progress? What is it that we can use to help us keep progressing? There are so many of them. I'll mention just a few. One of them, and I've been talking about it, is faith. Is faith that God loves us, that God loves us completely, and that God is on our side. I remember Swami saying this sometimes. I remember him saying it to me once when I was going through a difficult patch. He just said, remember, Guru's on your side. You know, he's there, he's working for you, he's fighting for you. So that's the winning side. I mean, when Guru is on our side. But having faith in that, faith in the perfection, in the benevolence of life, faith in that it's all perfect, and that we just need to open our eyes and to see it. One of the devotees asked Swami once, he said, "Sir, what do you consider to be the most important thing for spiritual progress?" And the person who asked was expecting, one of several answers, especially devotion. Swami didn't say that. What he said was concentration. The concentration is the most important thing for spiritual progress, meaning focusing. I'm going to talk about this in the class afterwards, about the law of magnetism and the law of abundance. We need to focus. Somebody asked me, I think just today, yesterday, I can't remember which day it was, how can I be more focused in meditation? My mind wanders off. And my response was, be more focused in everything you do in life. Just to bring to everything, whether it's washing the dishes, making a meal, writing an email, making a telephone call, to bring 100% of your concentration there, in that moment, to that thing. And then you will do it well, and it will be done. And you don't have to carry unfinished business with you. This is what weights us down, the unfinished things in our lives, the things that we put off. So concentration. Now, I may be wrong about this, but even if I am, it's still a good story. So there was, every year the super rich people meet each other. And there was a person who was interviewing Bill Gates, you know this person, and Warren Buffett. You know Warren Buffett? Yes. Okay. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And the interviewer said, I'm going to give you a piece of paper and I want you to write down the one thing you consider most important for success. And then we'll see what you've written down. And so they both right away wrote down a word. And then the interviewer asked to see it. It was the same word. It was concentration. That's the secret. Other secrets for spiritual progress. Enthusiasm. To bring not only concentration, but to bring joy and enthusiasm to what we do. Because the spiritual path can be a long haul. This is not the 100-meter dash. This is the marathon. This is the ultra marathon. And the training is different. You train one way for a short run, you train completely another way for the long run. We need perseverance, and in order to persevere, we need joy. We need to be enjoying what it is that we're doing. And that, as we heard from the affirmation, it's God's joy channeled through our willpower. This is enthusiasm, even-minded and cheerful. To have that detachment, to have that balance and calmness, and to be cheerful about our life and about ourselves. To be joyful and enthusiastic. So these are some, they're not really secrets, are they? They're things that we all know, but things that it's helpful to remind ourselves about it, to have faith that we will get there, that God is on our side, that He's helping us every single day, that we be open and accepting and tolerant, that anything that happens in our life, we see it as part of God's Leela. I mean, just what a perfect concept, is Leela. It is. And to enjoy the Leela and to flow with the Leela. And when we're in the river, and when we're flowing with that river, where is it going to take us? Where does every river end up? It ends up in the ocean. It ends up in the sea. It ends up in the sea of bliss, of beatitude. This is our common destiny. And God and Guru are on our side. Jai Guru.
Jai.